Welcome, Minnesota Timberwolves fans, to this edition of Timberwolves Today on FanArch. I am your host, Mark Fiers, bringing you today's podcast via Kalshi. The playoffs are here, and it's the most exciting time of the year. On Kalshi, you can trade everything from this upcoming game, Spurs Timberwolves, to a series, to the semifinals, to the finals, to the championship. You name it, you can trade on Kalshi. All right, Timberwolves fans, hopefully, fingers crossed, this is not my last pregame topic for the season. My game six prediction, I'm sure you already know that I am going to take the Wolves in game six, forcing a game seven, moving back to San Antonio on Sunday night. Just heard that game will probably be 6:30 or 7 on Sunday in San Antonio. Um, I'm sure you all expect me to predict to pick the Wolves to force this to a game seven, and I'm gonna look more specifically. I believe it's going to be a 117-113 win for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Some offense here. They're not going to blow everything off the roof into the 130s, but I think a relatively well played, well paced game. Ant is rested. They have the 2 off days, which is very nice. Definitely, I do believe, I think helps the Timberwolves, both from a schematic standpoint and from a rest standpoint. I believe Ant goes for 35 plus, has a big game. Randall, I'm stupid to think this, but I think he has an efficient game, somewhere in that 6 of 10, 6 of 11 from the field, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. I believe that he will play his best basketball when his back is against the wall. Won't force too much, and I think that high assist total really is what makes this game effective for him and leads to a Wolves win. Nas, putting him on 20 piece, 5 threes. He will get the assignment for much of the game against Wemby. I think they will try and put some ball pressure on, maybe front a little bit more than they have been, but he's going to pull Wemby away from the lane, allow Randall to work a little bit more. He'll be effective, hit those threes. Actually, Nas has been shooting very well this series. So I think those are the 3 key pieces. And then to win this game, though, they're going to need someone to come out of nowhere to affect this game. And could it be Terrence Shannon Jr.? Could it be Mike Conley, Jalen Clark, Bones Highland? Who could it be? Hit the comments. Tell me who you think will have the biggest impact in this game out of nowhere, okay? And that might be a big 3. It might be a defensive stop. It might be for 16 points. It just might be his defensive presence, a la Jalen Clark. I'm going Bones on this. I do think that Finch is going to have to shake things up a little bit. I think things might get sticky a little bit early mid second quarter. I do think Bones, in limited minutes, maybe only 8 to 10 minutes, but will have a very strong impact on this game. He is committed. He is still locked in. I believe that he's grabbed an opportunity here, and had a resurgence in Minnesota. But he has to stay locked in, because if he wants to be a Timberwolf next year, if he has any chance, or he wants to get a decent contract anywhere else, he's going to have a big game and show up at some point in the playoffs. This might be his last chance. I do expect Bones to have a big impact in this game. So that is my prediction. I think that there are some key matchups that we will need to look at, and some of those matchups, one I already talked about, was Nas versus Wemby. I think that what we lose defensively, with Nas on the court versus Wemby, we can make up more than ample offensively. Not just what Nas can do against Wemby, but also by pulling him out of the lane will allow other people to cook inside the paint. The Io Fox, De'Aaron Fox has been playing very well. I think Io will need to get up and defend, get in his face, be physical, aggressive with him 23, 25 feet away from the basket. We have Anthony Edwards, who I think will primarily have to guard Stefan Castle. I think that on the flip side, Anthony Edwards can get Castle into foul trouble early, or Harper. I think it's very important. I said this in the podcast yesterday that Ant is going to have to come out strong early and either make shots or get the Spurs into foul trouble, put the pressure on the refs. And I think probably the biggest matchup. The most impactful matchup in this game may very well be Jaden McDaniels versus Dylan Harper. This has been a, I guess, coming out series, if you will, for Dylan Harper. Coming out in the sense of playing good basketball, of course. Making quite an impact. And so I do think that Jaden is going to have to slow down Dylan Harper, and vice versa. Jaden has to put pressure on Dylan Harper and be his own aggressive self. And I think it's a big turning point in this series is going to be who gets the other into foul trouble earlier. I think that works on Jaden and Harper, and also Ant versus Castle, or even Io versus Fox. Um, it I wish they could just play, and the outcome could just be determined based on basketball and skill. I know Spurs fans are going to jump into a Timberwolves podcast and talk about them being the more skilled team, but I really do hope it comes down to skill and it doesn't just become a foul game and how the refs call the game. We do not want that to happen. The Spurs don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. The NBA doesn't want that to happen. It needs to be a skill game. So that, as we look at Game 6, I think are those key matchups. And again, I think it's going to go one way or the other based on that Jaden McDaniels versus Dylan Harper matchup. All right, you know that we are sponsored by Kalshi. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes for you to win, so does your position, and you can buy in and out of that position as the market changes throughout the game, and you can trade throughout the game. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use the code FANARCHBASKETBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. So been sharing this ad a lot. You might be sick of it right now, or you might say, "Oh man, I don't want to download another app. I don't want to get into any game. I don't want to do any of this stuff." This is different. It's trading. It's try it out. We might only You might only have one game left to trade on the Timberwolves. This is your day to try Kalshi, Kalshi. Kalshi, trade on anything. All right. Moving on. Wemby versus Ant. Who is the face of the NBA? Well, I know we know who is, or who the NBA is making the face of the NBA. And I think the question for me is really not so much who is the face of the league, but who should be the face of the league? Who is the more valuable player? Who is the better player? Who is the player you want to build your franchise around? You know that I am going to be biased on this, and I am going to pick Anthony Edwards. This is a goddamn Timberwolves podcast. I'm not picking Wemby. I'm not going to pick Shea. I'm not going to pick Jokic. I'm not going to pick, God knows, Tatum. Giannis. I'm picking Ant as the face of the NBA. I'm picking Ant as that person you want to build your franchise around. Ethical basketball player, yeah, we get it. We've heard it, we've talked about it, but you see it in how he plays. He plays hard. He doesn't cheat the game. The growth that he's shown, just even in his arguing about calls and all that kind of stuff, but he can carry his team. He can carry his team offensively, and he can carry his team defensively. Yes, Wemby can do those same things. He has shown year after year after year a constant improvement in different parts of his game. You'll hear this from the people within the Timberwolves organization, from the people that follow and cover the Timberwolves most closely, is that Anthony Edwards is the hardest worker on the team, and no one puts in more time and effort into improving his game than he does. Do I do I say do we say it's Kobe-esque in that sense? Maybe he's not there yet. Maybe it will be this year after they will inevitably, most likely, high probability get bounced at some point. Um, he just works his tail off. He's got the charisma. The man is a walking soundbite. He is funny. He is honest. He is truthful. He doesn't hold back. He tells it like it is. He calls a spade a spade. Sometimes, yes, maybe he'll put his foot in his mouth and say something he shouldn't. But that's just what you get with these people, right? But the charisma is definitely there. He is clutch, right? He wants the ball in his hand. He is a high volume minutes guy. He is a high volume shooting guy. Wemby is not there yet. Okay. Wemby averaged 30 minutes, 29, 31 minutes a game. Ant is up at 36. Okay. He doesn't take games off. He plays through pain. He plays through injuries. He is the type of person that you want going out there, and he gives it his all. And he is, I see right now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that Wemby is a part of a system. He's a part of the rotation. He's a gigantic part of the rotation, right? He affects everything that they do defensively, but he's still a part of the system with the way the Spurs are set up right now. Anthony Edwards is the system. If he is not going strong, the Wolves are not going to go strong. Bar a miracle, bar a honestly a blind squirrel catching a nut kind of thing against the Nuggets when he was out, but he is their system. He's a great teammate. He's a great player. He lifts up his players. He lifts up his teammates. He pushes them. Um, and I think another thing is if we look at, building our team around, Wemby is going to be an injury risk. To be that tall and that lanky and that thin and slight, he's not built for a lot of hard contact and is. And I would have to take that into account. Um, and so I do think that for those reasons, I'm going to say Ant above Wemby as the face of the league, the most important player. And my last point, very quickly, if you've been on social media, trade rumors are swirling. The three biggest names, just because they're big names and because the Wolves were in on trade talks at the trade deadline. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Kendrick Perkins throws out Giannis. Jeff Teague, former Timberwolf, throws out Ja and Kyrie. Um, Obviously, right now it is just tons of speculation. Um, I, I just because of age, of injury, Kyrie. Although I think for how he would fit in the Wolves system, would be the best person. However, I wouldn't put too much on him. Ja, I do like the intrigue of him and his upside. Uh, it could be an absolute train wreck, or it could be we are surpassing the Thunder and the Spurs. I think Giannis makes this team for a short window, 3, 4 years, the odds-on favorite to win multiple championships. A lot of it obviously depends on who they have to trade and give up, how much it shortens their bench. But just throwing out, you're hearing stuff. I know the season's still going on; it's not over. I know that the Bucks want to do something around or the draft before the draft as far as their movement. But just throwing this out there because you're going to hear about it. It's going to ramp up all of this trade talk. All right, that's what I got for today. Thank you for joining. Make sure you are continuing to share the podcast and make sure you are following, subscribing, rating, giving me those 5 stars on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Comment, like, share here on YouTube. Yeah, Big game Friday night. Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's get it. Send it back to San Antonio.